Oh man, so at the beginning of the series, it was shown more just like witches and then werewolves, primarily werewolves, and then we saw a witch. And as it's been going, I was wondering, okay, well, how fantasy is the series gonna be? Because I wasn't sure if it was just gonna be kind of like, for the most part, regular people with like special weapons against like these scary werewolves, and then we saw like clear signs that, like from Grim, that they were gonna have like superhuman stats and stuff, like crazy abilities. Looks like characters are affected by magic and have magic rules and like different trinkets. This chapter though kind of cleared out pretty much everything that I had left wondering about the structure of the series. Because like the chapter starts out showing pretty much what the world is like outside of Valu's hamlet, and we just get like a glimpse of the area around them. And I thought that was really cool, just seeing different monsters and different like areas of the environment. It looks like we get a different character next week. But the chapter kind of just begins, and you get like a flashback of Valu talking to the mayor, and then it's like they're on this, they're like on a cart, like a wagon, and it's being pulled by a crab, and it's like this weird hermit cart. It's really cool. I like the design of that a lot. Like really neat, creative ideas like that. It's like, oh boy, it was, instead of a hermit crab, he's got like instead of a shell for a hermit crab, it's got like a wagon, and he's just pulling along. This guy's got like a fish on a string. And then when you're looking up the distance, there's giant walking trees over there, and Grim's like, oh no, don't worry about it. It's just like a lumbering giant. Nothing really that crazy. And you see it off in the distance. This dude is huge. This massive giant, and he's carrying like another big ass tree with him. And it's one of those things. It's really cool to see just the regular everyday activities of the world. Like if you were just there, this isn't some event. This is just some creature that's out doing its thing. You can observe it and you can just enjoy it, and it doesn't seem like it's a problem. I mean, the fact that she said don't worry about it's not really a big deal. That means obviously this thing must not be a threat. It must not really be hostile towards humans. I would imagine unless threatened. And like we get so much more like from this. We get kind of information on Grim's like status. She was cursed by a witch that turns her into a child, and she has this item that for, I think it's 3 hours a day, it might be 4 hours a day, but for a couple hours a day she gets her adult body back, but afterwards she gets really tired and she's not able to fully she can't really just do anything at that point. She just needs to rest. So she's only in her prime for a fraction of the day. So it's just one of those things that she must have been really powerful like before this happened on a regular basis. Like probably one of the, I would guess one of the top hunters. That's just a guess though. And then she got cursed, and now she's just limited, like super heavy, and she can only do so much. There was like a part where I know I'm gonna get some form of nudging at it. Like there's a part where she's like talking to her about like the coincidence and like the axe. We still don't know what's really that special with the axe. I'm guessing it's made out of the wolf neum or maybe something completely better or different. And how like all the wood cutting that Valu did, like he wanted to like cut all the firewood because firewood is really important for like people in the hamlet when it's cold. And because of all that physical training, he just became very strong. He got a sturdy body. And there's like a part where he's like, oh well, it was because of my my bonds with the other villagers that like put me where I was at, where I could cut these werewolves with one swing. And Grim's like, okay, now you're reaching a little bit, and there's even a part where he says it's not the power of friendship. Technically it was, not in the same sense, because I think some people overuse like the term, but it was because of his dedication for the other people in the village. I keep saying village, which is typical Hamlet. I just want to say the Hamlet. I like that it's called a Hamlet. It just gives it that little unique spice. But it actually kind of is, because it was because he was trying to do all this stuff for all these other people that he was able to get to this level. It's not like he just like, man, I want to help people, and then he just became more powerful. Like it's not the same structure. Like if it was different, if it was like something in like their power system where some form of strong emotional surge would make him stronger, that's one thing. But it was more of like what drove him to become as physically capable as he is now. He's just shown like cutting through wood like no problem. And there's even a mention of like, oh yeah, there's like a kingdom where they have all the new knight recruits just kind of like chop wood for like a physical training exercise. I'm guessing that's where the mayor was from, and he was doing that for Valu. And We get like these two other characters, Tilty and Milty, and they're like running the carriage. They're making food as well. And it seems that they were trying to become hunters, but they failed out of it. They said that there's only like 3 or so that end up passing every time that there's like a test. I think they said out of like 200 people usually apply, so only about 3 or 4 end up making it. One thing about the chapter that I was so curious about is, like, one, the designs are really cool, because you get like this big ass crab who's got like tank parts on it, and they said that like, oh, it's an armored crab. It kind of like looks for stuff that, you know, to pretty much put on its body. It uses glue from the foam in its mouth to do so. So it's essentially like the same idea as an armored crab, but instead it's like a large-scale armored one that's like looking for parts probably from tanks and wagons and buildings and stuff. Really cool. I was so curious though of like this chapter, what was with it specifically being crabs? Because you had a hermit crab for the cart, you had a crab for the armored crab, like this big weaponized looking dude walking around. But then when they're like looking at it and they're like, oh, don't worry about it, it's not a problem. And then like they realize that there's a threat suddenly. They have to kind of like all dodge and attack, like it blows up the wagon on the like the whole car crab. What was the car crab called? Let me pull back. I want to give it some respect because I like it. Tractor hermit crab, because I actually do really like that design. So I didn't want to mess up the name, but it seems to be okay. It doesn't look like it died. It just looks like the cart on its back got blown up. But there's like another crab on it, and that one looks really spooky. It's coming out of like a skull, and it's got these big spooky eye stalks. It's a plier crab, and they said that they're hostile towards humans, like eat humans. And they seem to be pretty intelligent because it's operating a cannon on the armored crab's back. And we see a moment from Milty and Tilty when they just completely body this guy. Like from a distance, Milty like just shoots like around, not only in this small like narrow opening in like the cannon like metal frame, but also sets it up to ricochet like too, to like completely just dart it around and expose it. She does it from afar, and then you have Tilty come in with like a bunch of weapons, a bunch of swords, and completely just dices this dude up, like completely slashes him and turns him into a crab plate. Can crabs get filleted? I don't know the correct term for like cutting up crabs. But like it's impressive to see what they're capable of, and then find out they flunked out of the exam or the gold trial. I think that was just really the point of it. It was just like, yeah, look at these guys, and these guys could make the cut. So Bailey's gonna have to really step up his game. We know he's got like a strong physical build. He's had a good start, but we know that he's not at a level like with this, or like where these two are putting out. But it seems like it's more like a camp kind of thing, kind of like a boot camp, rather than a, oh yeah, show up, show your worth, we'll see if you pass or not. It seems way more, I think they said like the time of it, I think it's a couple months, and it's 3 months, so it is more like boot camp, so it's like you have to pass the 3 months. I wonder how hard it's actually gonna be. Like I know, for instance, I think it's Navy SEALs. They said that like the physical training is like, I think it's only like 10% of the difficulty. 90% is the mental and emotional strain they put you through, because you know they have to make sure that you're like I feel like with that, similar to probably like this, they know you're coming physically capable and ready to do stuff, but you have to be able to keep your head on your shoulders, keep your mind steeled and focused for like crazy scenarios. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of like hard obstacles as well, but my guess is there's going to be a lot of just psychological stuff in there to kind of like figure out these guys are going to be able to handle it mentally. So they're going to this thing, the Ironworks, for Veilu's whole trial and getting into this boot camp kind of style thing. And there's a thing at the end of the chapter where there's a character, this big kitty, big muscle chick with like gleaming abs. I can't wait to see what her design is like. That's going to be good in the next chapter. Looking forward to that. Definitely tell this manga like some thick, like some real cut. So we're gonna see some more good stuff there. But anyway, other than that, solid chapter. Like I said, there was a lot of just exposition I really liked, seeing just like all the different monsters and stuff. But other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, turn the like button, subscribe button, check out other videos from that shit. Or subscribe if you don't listen. Bye.